Wow, what a result. Yes, we came second, but given the very limited time and funding we had to campaign as a grassroots political party, this result shows some real traction and real potential. It gives us a strong foundation to build momentum ahead of next year's elections, elections that will happen in May for the new Shadow Authority. And most of all, well done, Leen Valley. Thank you for your support. And thank you for that message that you sent through your vote that Nottingham wants and deserves better. This message is definitely being felt, it's definitely being heard. So, to all in Nottingham and beyond, let's continue and organise and show that a different kind of positive politics is not only possible, but is already taking flight. Hello and welcome to another episode of the show of Squawk. My name is Councillor Ankunda Joel Matsiko. Please remember that this podcast is being done in my own personal capacity, so not in any official ones, as my roots are as an activist and campaigner. But first of all, I'd like to thank all those in Leen Valley who turned out to vote in this by-election. There were many factors that led to a low turnout this time for this by-election, including the fact, or mainly the fact, that this by-election was being called when many, including myself and others, are wanting to take some time off. It is August after all. It's that time off that's so important to spend with family and friends to enjoy the summer. And I certainly wanted to do that, which is why I missed much of the start of the campaign because of family commitments and weddings and so on. But ultimately, it is that time that is essential before we get back into a very, very busy season ahead of us, with the start of September coming up very, very soon. And also, it's time to refresh and set up for what we need to be doing moving forward. And thank you to all the campaigners and supporters who made this incredible sacrifice of their time, money, and efforts to make this result possible. There are also some great doorstep campaigners at Nottingham People's Alliance. Really want to put some kudos to you guys. And thank you to the brilliant candidate, Parveen Begum, who courageously and worked tirelessly in this campaign, proving that she is a credible candidate for future elections. There were ups and downs in this campaign. They're mostly ups, I'm glad to say. And whilst there are genuinely serious matters that need a peaceful resolution and accountability on the global stage, my message is just really simple. Remember to act with respect and dignity. Respect for oneself and dignity in how you interact with others, including with humility. It is also important, now more than ever, to defend our rights to protest. But with every right comes a responsibility. And in this case, during this by-election, the responsibility to ensure that any assembly remains peaceful and that so that the freedom of expression is protected, particularly at a time when such freedoms are under pressure. Now, some have sought to blame us for what happened at the Crimea Institute, but let me be clear. The Nottingham People's Alliance do not condone vandalism, criminal damage, or any other form of criminality. The damage caused to the Labour candidate's vehicle was serious and unacceptable. And we sincerely hope that those responsible are identified. And I do not say this lightly, because I have also experienced in the past, I've experienced a similar thing where somebody vandalized my vehicle. Therefore, I understand the frustration, upset, and cost this will cause. But it is also important to act with humility and not to exploit such incidents for political advantage, because doing so damages your own integrity, credibility, and sympathies. There were many different actors present at that protest with different motivations. And the danger of protests is that they can quickly become complicated when individuals who don't represent the true purpose of the protest become involved. It is also possible that some have used the protest and the acts of vandalism to undermine the support that we have had at Nottingham People's Alliance. We certainly lost votes as a result of it. People told me on the doorstep at length that they would have voted for us at the Alliance, but changed their minds and voted for Labour because of the vandalism. Not because of the protest itself. That's really important to highlight. The protest is recognised as a necessary challenge to Labour's position on Palestine, but vandalism should not play a part of that. And this is only part of the story of this by-election, because it was a very long election. And more positively, it exposed what we knew, the grey disconnect between local people and the politics that claims to represent them. In my last video, I talked about the low morale at the council. So let me tell you now that the low morale is also amongst councillors, Labour councillors that we were used to be a part of. And apparently nothing has changed there. And it's a story of a group that is led by voices who use fear, invalidation, pettiness, character assassinations to hide their really poor decisions, and also quite a lot of bitterness when things don't go their way. It's a really unhealthy place to be. And our only hope at the Alliance is that we can maintain our positivity and ability to disagree well. So important, because that's the only way you can make a really positive difference to everybody in Nottingham, regardless of background. And speaking of background, I do reject the idea that only one political party can unite everyone. Sounds like a dictatorship when they say that. This kind of thinking is really just unhealthy, it's divisive, and a real turn-off. Nottingham is a city where the majority of people respect one another. And that be across different identities, backgrounds, religions, politics. And our politics should strengthen that spirit of positivity rather than weakening it. The Nottingham People's Alliance reflects that same diversity. Our membership includes a variety of different people from different backgrounds, but who share one simple belief. And that belief is that Nottingham deserves better, and people should know that their vote matters. I saw this on the doorstep throughout this campaign. For example, on polling day, in the final hours of vote before voting closed, like happens many times, voters thanked me for knocking on his door. And actually, this time he held up the leaflet in front of him that I'd given him. And before I walked off the drive, he had started walking with real determination and purpose towards the polling station. I did not know how he voted or even where his polling station was. And of course, I did not follow him. But what stayed with me was that positivity of that moment. That is what campaigning should be about, encouraging people to take part and to make their voice count at the ballot box, and to feel part of their right to vote in this democratic process. I hear that the subject of civics will be taught as a core subject in schools, and that's going to happen soon. And I'm deeply encouraged by that, because if it's done well, it could improve the quality of our political discourse in years to come. So onwards and upwards, we will keep building a positive, inclusive alternative that is rooted in honesty, hope, and humanity. And in the same spirit of democracy, I'd like to say congratulations to Labour on their victory. And thank you to every candidate that stood and all those campaigners and volunteers and voters who took part. It's important that we recognise that and respect that. Nottingham People's Alliance, though, we're on the up, and we welcome others to join us or partner with us for next year's elections in May. This is not just about us, it's about a better Nottingham that everyone deserves. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.